Nothing.
Hello everybody and welcome to the RJO Futures Market Commentary for the week of February 24th. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and we'll just take a look at what's on tap for the markets this week. So let's get started here looking at the S&P 500 index. We'll do that via the ES Futures contract starting on the higher time frame here, the monthly chart. We can see that we have three lower highs in place. That hasn't happened in quite a while. So the end of last year, this candle right here, December, was the high in and around, let's see what that level was, 1846.50, and then last month we put in a high of 1845.75, and then current month February, we had another 5 days on this candle till the end of the week before it closes out, and the high is at 1844.50. So we already have in one lower low as compared to the previous month. That hasn't happened in quite a while either, and so some questions there, a little bit about the direction here that we're headed going forward as we move down through the time frames, the weekly chart, where as you can see all these arrows, this has been where most of our trade setups have been going long. Had the nice pullback here, and now we're back up to that 1846 level or thereabouts, 1845. We have a nice indecisive candle set up right there, and as you can come through a lot of these other pullbacks, you have some indecisive candles in and around these levels. And we've had quite a few deeper rollovers based on those candles. That nice small indecisive candle, if we get a breakdown through that candle, I'd be looking for the market to go lower, and that's going to be a break of that candle at 1817.25 would be the low. So we haven't been there yet, but also if we break up higher through that 1846 level, which is the high for this flat level right there, it's kind of been the peak. If we break up through that, then it looks like we're going to be putting in some divergence on the charts. For right now, we've really had this flat level that's been a very solid level of resistance, and the indicators here are starting to trend down a bit. When we pull up the daily chart, we can see that level a lot better. We had a whole number and series of touches across there. We have a double topping structure in place here, so there could be a reversal pattern here if the market starts to move lower beyond some of these candles. And so we had a nice bearish candle there on the week's close last week on Friday. Take a look at what the level there is. On the low is 1832.75, and we do have a breakthrough of the low of that candle. So I think we're due for a little larger pullback here. We do have divergence across the charts over quite a number of days here, putting in consecutive lower highs, and then even with the most recent equal touch, we still have lower highs coming into place. That doesn't mean that we can't continue to break this level and still put in a new high. It just does cause reason for some caution here. As we move down to the 8-hour chart, we can see we have another, basically a double topping structure within a double topping structure here. We have two touches here, a nice rejection candle off that level, and if we get a break of this level, I'd be fairly convinced that we're going lower. And the low here is 1832.75. We're pretty close. The low has been around 1833.25. So it looks like if we do get a break of this candle right here, it looks like we will be going lower then, and potentially looking downward here, probably into this 1810 level or maybe beyond. So I'd be cautious around this level of 1845. If we do get a break of 1845, I would need to see a significant close above that level before looking to get long again this chart. And then we'll look at the Nasdaq 100 here again on the higher time frame, the monthly chart. A little different scenario here than what we saw on the S&P 500. We actually have higher highs in place. And as you can see, the last, almost 10 months here, especially the last 5, has really been almost parabolic. You can see that move, especially in the last 5 or 6 months, it's almost been straight up, making some extraordinary highs there and higher lows on some of the most recent months. So we started a little slow down here, but we're still making higher highs. We have put in a lower low with this month's candle, so we still have 5 more days left until the end of the week for this candle to close out. So let's move down through the other time frames to see if we can get a little bit more granular on this. We do have that most recent pullback right here. Let's get an arrow in on that. That was the most recent trade. going along with this trend. So you can see most of the trend flow trades that have been setting up have been to the long direction, and they've all been setting up on the weekly chart, which have just been some great trades on the Nasdaq. It's really been a screamer. We just put in a new high again with that most recent, so a little different than from the ES and even the Russell index, where they haven't necessarily put in higher highs yet. We're still putting in higher highs on the Nasdaq. Have a nice small indecisive candle here, and just kind of looking through the charts here. You can see when you go back and you find these little indecisive candles, sometimes they don't always indicate a top, but many times they do. And some of these in and along here have indicated tops in the structure back along here as well. And so being that we have some divergence now on the weekly chart, on the indicators, it's a very high time frame, so I don't put that much significance on it. But we do have essentially a potential reversal pattern setting up here as well. But everything looks pretty strong. So I'm just using that to be cautious this week on some of these charts here. It doesn't necessarily look as good as it did on the ES for a reversal pattern, but if you'll notice, we do have at least on. Well, we don't really. The divergence really hasn't set in there as of yet. We've had divergence here quite a bit, or at least some equal touches with these highs going up. But we do have a nice rejection candle in there on the daily chart from last week, and we do have a break of the low of that candle. So as we move down through the time frames, you'll start to see some stronger divergence setting up. So we have actually some higher highs in through here, and we actually have very significant lower highs on the 8-hour chart. Have a little bit of a reversal pattern setting up in there, rejection candle, breakdown through the low of that rejection candle, and then as we move down to the 4-hour chart, we can then see even more of the same thing. A little bit more pronounced reversal pattern there, nice clean rejection candle and a break of the low of that candle, and it looks like we might be moving lower here. So more than likely, it really is going to depend on some news coming out this week. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But for right now, the charts aren't looking too good. Definitely looking cautious at these levels up around 36.87, and looking for, if we get a breakdown further, looking for this low around here at 36.38, and then if we can break that level, more than likely we'll be testing possibly some levels down here around 35.97. So overall, the market's been incredibly bullish going into the fifth year of a bull trend. And so really just been trying to stay with this trend along for as long as we can. But we're certainly getting some signals here where we need to be cautious. Markets are at an all-time high. Doesn't mean they can't go higher, but we just want to be cautious about the gains that we've already made, and see if we can get some of the turns right just by being cautious and looking for some key breaks of these levels. And it looks like we have them, and then just looking for potential. I'm just looking for potential intraday shorts. I'm not looking to hold anything overnight in terms of a swing position, because the markets to me are just looking fairly indecisive with regard to the way they're setting up right now. And then lastly, we'll take a look at the Canadian dollar pairing here. On the monthly time frame, the highest. We talked about this one quite a while ago. The had a number of these levels in here with just some nice rejection candles coming in, and a couple of pair of touches here that just recently on the second touch actually kind of didn't make much of a pullback and just broke right through that 93.30 level, and we're sitting down here right around 90.50. But if we look at the overall consolidation here, it looks like we've got some ways to run here. Even could possibly get down around this 84.69 level. But what I'm looking for is any type of a rally back up into this 93.30 level. I think it would be met with a lot of resistance and a lot of sell orders, being that this level has held for quite some time. It's been tested from the resistance side, also been tested from the support side, and so if anything, any price moving back up into that level, that support should turn back to resistance. Moving down to the time frames on the weekly chart, we can see that that set up a little bit better. Some touches way back in through here, way back when. But as you can see right here, we're getting looks like we're due for maybe a little bit of a pullback into the moving averages here, potentially on the weekly time frame. If we move down through the daily chart, we can see a little bit of a potential reversal pattern setting up right there, which could give us a break of this high if we can get it. More than likely, that would take us right back into that 93.30 level, which would be met with some more than likely some selling pressure at that level, and then we can start to anticipate another move lower. So overall, things looking pretty bearish on the Canadian dollar, but just looking out for that 93.30 level upcoming if we can get a rally into that level. So there's the outlook for the markets this week. Coming up this week, news on Thursday, probably the biggest piece of news coming out this week is going to be Fed Chair Janet Yellen testifying on Capitol Hill, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, pretty standard news week for most of the week. Pretty heavy on Wednesday and Friday as well. And then next week, we'll actually kick off the RGO Futures Advanced Strategy course, which will be a 3-week course. We'll show you 2 trade setups, the trend flow trade and the momentum breakout setup, and how to trade a strong trend. So if you're interested in that, hop on the website over at rgofutures.com, get signed up for that, and that'll be starting up on March 5th, and that'll go through the 12th and the 19th. So 3 consecutive weeks will give you over 3 hours of education and show you how we trade our own money, trade our own account with some of the strategy setups that we use. So thank you all for watching the RGO Futures Market Commentary for the week of February 24th, and we look forward to speaking to you again on the Market Update.